Cody here, and today is another Lolita Problems video. And if you read the title, you may be a bit confused. Like, what does she mean by godly few? The godly few is a term I've coined myself when I'm referring to the big popular brands in Lolita fashion, like Angelic Pretty, Baby the Starshine Bright, Meta, Maudie, Victorian Maiden, Juliette et Justine, Innocent World, you know, all the big ones that you hear about all the time. And you see on Tumblr, you hear about when you first start the fashion, those guys. Those are the godly few. The next thing you might be wondering is, why am I calling them the godly few? Well, in comparison to the large amount of brands that are located on Taobao or small shops on Store Envy and Etsy, they are rather few in comparison. It's like you got the big guys on the pedestal over here and everyone else shoved in a tiny little drawer trying to escape. Now, when I started Lolita Fashion, I didn't really see things as brand and not brand, as I've explained previously. But I know from conversations that I've had with other Lolitas, things I've seen online, a lot of girls have a warped perception of what the word brand means. So I went ahead and I have written down here Merriam-Webster's definition of brand. According to Merriam-Webster, brand is a category of products that are made by a particular company and all have a particular name, or a class of goods identified by name as the product of a single firm or manufacturer. This is where I might lose some of you guys. This might be where you shut off the video, or angry, annoyed, or leave a nasty comment. According to Merriam-Webster, according to all sane definitions of brand, Bodyline, Infanta, Chest Story, all the little guys that we label as Taobao brands, indie brands, or off-brand are brand. It's not just the godly few that you get to call brand, it's everybody. Infanta makes their own stuff, their name's on the label, brand. Bodyline sends you a bag and with their label on it, you get a tag with the label of Bodyline on it. Bam, brand. All those people that you or you've heard somebody else say aren't brand are truly brand. And that's what brings me to my topic about today, the godly few. And this is really spurred on by some things I've been seeing, some instance I had with a very popular Lolita, who I'm not going to name, but I'm probably going to be called out on and be like, oh, you're talking about so-and-so. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm talking about so-and-so. What you got? Come at me, bro. But it's on brand. Particularly how the godly few interacts with the Lolita community. Or more specifically, how it has been interacting with the Lolita community and sort of morphing people's perceptions of what brand is and what brand isn't. Now, I'm not blaming brand for this happening. I'm sure Angelic Pretty does not do anything to tell people that Infanta and Chest Story aren't brand. But these are the perceptions that have been put on the brand and thus have been reflected back into the community, if you understand what I'm saying. And that is that everything that's Angelic Pretty, Baby the Starshine Bright, or any of the other godly few, anything that they do is 100% awesome and 10 times more amazing than any of the little guys in the drawer. And that is 100% false. Which brings me to a story I have, again, it's about a popular Lolita and an interaction I had with her. She made a little beginner video where she said that indie brands are poor quality. That they are cheap because the quality of their garments are cheap. And therefore, brand is always going to be amazing because they cost you hundreds of dollars. That's not 100% true. If you guys watch my review videos of Promenade to Paris, for example, in comparison to any of my Infanta dresses, you know I talk about them relatively, when I rate them, they're pretty much on the same level. And owning garments from Infanta, Chest Story, Magic Tea Party, Angelic Pretty Baby, and Alice in the Pirates, I think I have a well-rounded perception on brands. And I think here I have the authority to tell you firsthand there is no difference in quality. When you buy something from a smaller brand, it's cheaper, but you're getting your bang for the buck. Trust me. That quality of the garment is going to blow you out of the water. And it really annoyed me that this popular Lolita who knows diddly about little itty bitty brands was saying this. And it's not just her, it's a bunch of big popular Lolitas. They all say that, oh, it's okay if you want to wear so-and-so indie brand, but it's cheap and it's crap. You should buy Angelic Pretty anyway. And you kind of just, they generally just bully people into buying brand. And by brand, I mean the godly few. And then it just perpetuates this thing where people think, oh, if you're buying it off of Taobao, that means you're cheap and you're not a real Lolita. And that's full-on garbage. Seriously, I may be wearing Promenade to Paris right now, but I can tell you, this dress isn't 100% amazing. I own garments by Infanta that are much more comfortable to chill out in than this one. So yes, I did just take my hair out, but I felt like it, and I know it's kind of mid-video, and that's messing with continuancy, but you know, I felt like it. The thing is with brand, people don't seem comfortable talking about the flaws they actually find in garments. They think obviously it's not an issue with the brand who made the dress, it has to be something wrong with them because it's one of the godly few. There's nothing they could possibly do that would be horrible or dysfunctional. So this is one of the things I talked about in, I'm going to show you a thing that I've talked about in my review of Promenade to Paris, but I'm going to show you so no one can have any complaints on that it's me, it's my fault that this happens. So again, you see my arm, right? Alright, so you know when you typically like want to raise your hand in class or want to get a glass out of a cabinet, you're trying to reach for your ramen noodles so you can make your lunch, you typically want to use your shoulder, right? Well, watch. Oh, and there it goes. Now I have use of my shoulder, but I don't look cute anymore because it popped open. And this doesn't just happen like once in a while. This is whenever you wear this dress, expect for it to just pop like that. And it's just gonna pop. It happened when I put on my petticoat. It happened when I had to button the collar here because there's buttons in the back, and if you don't button the back of the collar, it looks silly. It happened when I was zipping up the dress. It happened when I was putting on my shoes. You know, it's a problem. It's a flaw in the garment. And it's not that my arms are fat or anything, as I'm sure someone would say, oh, your arms are just too fat for it. I actually have the button set on the widest length here, so it's the most least likely to happen for my arm to just make it pop. If it was, you know, a sane sleeve, if it was properly thought out. And if you look, if I press my arm against my body here, I have about half the sleeve left for space. So my arm is just freely roaming in here. It's a problem with the shoulders, where the shoulders meet, and how the sleeves interact with the rest of the garment. See, it pulls down here. There isn't enough give under the sleeve for the sleeve to move more. And then at the top, there isn't anything that will help move the sleeve up or give it room to move in that way. It's a problem. And I'm sure there are many other flaws in other angelic pretty garments. But no one talks about them because they're so high priced that obviously they are flawless garments and there's nothing that could ever be wrong with them. And that's honestly really stupid. It's honestly incredibly stupid, which is why whenever I do a review of Angelic Pretty in Fanta, anybody, I'm always going to tell you what's wrong with the garment. Because I honestly would not suggest anyone purchasing this dress because of this sleeve problem. It makes it really ridiculous. Like, I feel like I can't go anywhere when I wear this, really. Because the arm thing's gonna pop. Unless I know I'm not going to be doing anything that's like human being stuff. I'm not going to go to the club. I can't go to the club in this because I'm going to be reduced to the chicken dance. You know, there are a lot of problems with this dress and probably other ones that no one talks about. But everyone is incredibly critical over everyone else that's pushed into a little itty bitty drawer. I think one of the reasons why this is an issue, it's the thing of who's been here the longest. Angelic Pretty, though it went by a different name in the early 90s, has been here longer than, say, Fanta. So people treat it like how anyone treats anyone in a certain field. I'll use an analogy that's Lolita related. Crystal Chan told me about this group she's in where it's a thing for new Lolitas to ask any questions and whatnot and get feedback on coordinates and stuff like that. But only veteran Lolitas are allowed to respond to these questions. If you haven't been in the fashion for 7+ years, you don't get a say and you can't help anybody. Because obviously, if you haven't been doing it for 7 years, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Which is really stupid. Same goes for Fanta and little brands. Yes, Angelic Pretty has been here the longest. Well, it's not the one that's been here the longest. There were a bunch of brands that have been here the longest. The godly few. But you know what? These new brands are actually really innovative, and a lot of the time, I like what they come out with a hell of a lot more than the big brands. Not because they're cheaper in quality or whatnot, just because I feel like these brands actually understand how people wear clothing. And it makes me sad because a lot of people don't care. They're like, oh no. They get pushed away from indie brands because indie brands are not as good as the godly few. If they're not one of the godly few, they're poo. Don't look at them, you're Ita. As I talked about in my collaboration video with Crystal Chan, which is actually something someone told me. My first dress by White Moon, I was told it was Ita and a replica without the person even looking at it. So, who's it by? And I said White Moon. They're like, oh, well, that's a replica and you're Ita. Don't be Ita Dakota. Like, no, I'm pretty sure this is its own brand. They do their own thing. Thank you very much. One of the other problems is that this is perpetuated to the point where people don't see anything beyond the label. It's like if you're wearing Angelic Pretty, you can do no wrong. Because it's Angelic Pretty. I'm sorry, you can fail a coordinate just as well with an expensive garment, like something that's from Angelic Pretty, just as you could with something you handmade. There's no difference there. It's a piece of clothing. You can mess it up in some way. It's not like a badge of honor that you bought like Lolita from the most expensive places. Or the place that's been there the longest. Or something. It's not like that, and it shouldn't be like that. It has gotten to the point where in our little subculture, we worship the godly few. You stock the websites for release so you can swamp the website with a shopping service, even though it's going to go to the American site anyway if you just wait a little bit, just so you can get a piece of clothing. Buy a brand. Well, buy Angelic Pretty, Baby, Maudie, whoever. It's insanity. And it's great for the godly few. They're making all the money, but all that's doing is fueling the craze and the obsession over a brand. That's all it is. It's an obsession. Our Lolita culture has gotten to the point where we are obsessed with the name and not the quality. And if it's not the name, it's not the quality. As I said, a very popular Lolita said in her video that brands like Infanta and all of those awesome ones were not quality because they cost less and they weren't the godly few. That is a summarization there, but that's what happened in her video. And that's what I hear a lot. That's what a lot of girls tell new girls. And a lot of the time it is from people that never try out any of the other people. Like, maybe they'll try one garment from one brand and that's it. They don't try anybody else and they think one size fits all. And that's not it. If you look at big brands like Angelic Pretty and Baby, their quality and the way they make their clothing is so completely different. It is so absolutely different. And if you put that in comparison to all the amazing and diverse brands that are out there, it isn't fair to say that one crap dress you got is one crap dress for all. Is they're not all the same. They're not all the same. Every Lolita is not the same. Not every Lolita is going to want to wear Angelic Pretty, and they shouldn't feel pressured to wear Angelic Pretty. Again, I wear Angelic Pretty. I have a lot of Angelic Pretty. In my past videos, I've been wearing Angelic Pretty a lot more than my other dresses. Mainly because I've been getting a lot of new dresses lately, so I just really want to wear them. But also because I just feel like wearing that print. It shouldn't be a matter of, I want to wear that because it's Angelic Pretty. It should become a matter of, I want to wear that dress because I like it. Because I just really enjoy that print. Honestly, I could care less if this was Angelic Pretty or not. I could care less if Little Bear's Cafe was made by Angelic Pretty. I just honestly adore that print because bears. Because bears, I would buy it if it was made by Bodyline. I would love it if it was made by some really obscure Vietnamese brand. Probably wouldn't get it if it was some obscure Vietnamese brand, but I would love it nonetheless because it's cute. It has bears on it. Adorable. That's the way it should be, and I feel really sad that I have to make a video on this. Like, it got to the point where I felt the need to make a video about how toxic our culture is getting in our obsessions over material objects. But I have to. I can't sit by and see people calling one thing better than another thing. They're really the same. They're honestly really the same in so many freaking ways. They just make different stuff. They they make different dresses. Promenade de Paris is not made by Infanta, but, you know, Angelic Pretty doesn't make rose churches. And I'm not sure how this can be really fixed. I do talk about possible fixes in my collaboration video with Crystal Chan. And those are, it's really highly related. So the way, if any, I'm not sure if it would ever work, is that the people with the most popularity in the fashion will probably be the ones that end up pioneering it. This sort of new trend of it doesn't matter if it's Angelic Pretty or not, wear it anyway. Sort of like a thing Princess Peachy's been saying all along, but is not a thread that's been all out in Lolita fashion. That idea that it doesn't matter if you're wearing Bodyline or Angelic Pretty. Like, she got her dream dress, which is awesome. I'm so excited for Princess Peachy. It doesn't matter. You can make it awesome. You can be as kawaii as you want. And don't let someone tell you you can't wear something or what you're wearing is not Lolita because it doesn't have a certain label on it. That doesn't matter. The label honestly doesn't matter. All the labels does is it lets people, it's a reference for you and other people. If someone asks you, hey, who's that by? You can say Angelic Pretty so they can check out the brand. And for the brand to get credit for making their design. That's all the label is. It's kind of like for lost and found purposes. Not for oogling over, not for fighting over, not for bullying people over. With all the other issues we have in the world, material objects and fighting with people over who is the real Lolita is honestly the dumbest thing anyone could be fighting over. Get a life, okay? If you honestly think that bullying someone on the internet for designing their own thing, for buying something that's not from the godly few, for buying something from the godly few, if you think that's something that you feel is appropriate to bully someone over, you must have a really boring life because you have no other thoughts going on in your head. You're not thinking about, what if there are aliens? I wonder if I can do so-and-so thing with quantum physics. How does my brain work? Where do emotions come from? Why is the sky blue? What time does the mailman show up, and what's the probability that my best friend is a chupacabra? You know, you're not thinking if you are just wondering constantly and thinking constantly, oh, that girl's Ida. Let me go make fun of her because she's not wearing Angelic Pretty. Anyway, this video's kind of gone off course a little bit. But all in all, I just want to say that if you're a new Lolita and you're wondering, or you're worried about someone saying something nasty to you because you're wearing Angelic Pretty and you don't want to be labeled a brand whore, or you're making your own stuff and you just really want to make your own stuff for the style, do whatever it is you want to do. Go for it. I will be here. I am going to support you 100%. I know I'm only one person, but, you know, for every one person that says something, there are about 100 or so other people that feel the same way. And if you think about that, that's a lot of freaking people. That's a lot. And that just about wraps up this video. In the description, I will be linking to my collaboration video with Crystal Chan. So you can go check that out. It's going to be really interesting, hopefully. And other than that, I hope you have a fabulous day, guys. I really do. And I hope no one tells you anything stupid because of what you decide to wear. Think out of the box, guys. Love whatever you want to love. Go for it. The world is your oyster. Suck the marrow out of the life. Be Robin Williams. Dead Poet Society. Don't shut yourself away because someone's saying something nasty about you, okay? It's getting really preachy in here. You can feel it. It's preachy. I don't like the preachy. So I'm going to end this video here, as I've said, probably like 3 times now. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And above all, I hope you guys have or have had a wonderful International Lolita Day. I don't know when I'm putting this video out, so I'm saying both. But yeah, enjoy being Lolita. Enjoy being you. Enjoy being awesome. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Ah, are you freaking kidding me again? Stupid dress.